Sri Lankan Rugby has not been paying our players for a long time. So we have changed that this time to an extent with the sevens contracts we are brought into. There was a solid under 21 tournament, an under 24 tournament, and a proper B division tournament as well. Now it's much tougher, even to practice for some players costs over 30,000 a month. Sad reality where we are at in Sri Lanka, but that's something we are trying to change and must change. Hired these players, most of the top national players do playing contracts.
Rugby, as we all proudly call Rugger, is one of Sri Lanka's most passionate and physical sport. The game has always had talent and energy. But when it comes to the bigger stage, the question remains, how do we translate that passion into consistent success of Sri Lanka Rugby? To talk about this, joining me today is someone deeply connected to the game and as well as its future in Sri Lanka. He's a former Sri Lankan Rugby captain, CRNFC player. In fact, he captained CRNFC during 2004 to 2006. He's a proud royalist and a blue and gold flanker. And he's none other than the Sri Lanka Rugby President, Mr. Pavithra Fernando. Pavithra, welcome to the game plan. Start off with the current state of play in Sri Lanka. In your view, how would you assess where Sri Lanka Rugby stands within Asia?
Well, currently, if you take the rankings, we are ranked third in the sevens format and fourth in the 15th format. This is before the COVID period in 2018, we was ranked second actually in the sevens, so we come down a little bit, but we have hung in there because our systems in school systems very strong, our club tournaments also very good. So we've hung in there, but we have not really moved progress forward. We've been stagnant here for a while. So in the sevens we are definitely is where our future is. But we are in Sri Lanka. 15s is the much more recognized and loved version of the game. So both formats we are up there, and we could definitely make a run to the top.
That's great, and that's what we all aspire as Sri Lankans. And for us to get to that top, where do you see the gap when we compare ourselves among the top Asian rugby playing nations, Pavithra?
I think a lot has to do with the club rugby because at school level we're extremely competitive. Now if you take for an example, last year we just went to the under 27 aside tournament with 1 month's training, and we actually placed second, and we actually beat Hong Kong and we beat Hong Kong in the first round. By the second day we played the final, we lost to them, but it shows the level we are at school level. But unfortunately, over 90% of these boys who play school level do not continue rugby in Sri Lanka, as there's no future. And that's something we have to change. That's one of the main areas. That's due to that there's not enough payments for the players at club and national level. And so as there's no future, most of these students, players at school level stop playing. They focus on their education, on their careers, or they migrate. So that's something that we really need to change and try to keep the best players in the system to play for club and national.
You brought the conversation, Pavithra, to a great point. To fix the future, we need to understand the foundation. And as you correctly mentioned, Sri Lanka's strength has been the schools rugby. As the president, how are you planning to maximize the strong Sri Lanka schools rugby systems effectively to bring that transition from schools to club level to national?
So to answer that, we need to increase the pathways for the players to transition. Back when we were playing, there was a solid under 21 tournament, an under 24 tournament and a proper B division tournament as well. So unfortunately now, because at that time there were no payments, the economic situation was not the same, and now it's much tougher. Even just getting to to practice for some players costs over 30,000 a month. So there's pretty much impossible for team to be built without making payments for the players. So due to that, most of the other tournaments such as the 21s and the under 24s, the B divisions have really gone down and stopped. Currently, there is only mainly the forces having proper B division teams, and out of all the A division clubs, only the forces having B division teams, forces and the police, and only the forces have a women's team as well at this stage. Only three. So if you notice that this LR7 series, there's only 3 teams playing in the club division, which is a sad reality where we are at in Sri Lanka. But that's something we are trying to change and must change if we are to challenge the top players in Asia.
That's clearly seen as well, because when it comes to, like, we are a South Asian nation, and the player, for after they leaving schools, they have to look for jobs, they have to look after their financials as well. So do you have any appeals to the corporate sector? Because back in those days there were mercantile companies, corporates were willing to take the rugby, other sports players to represent their companies and all. So do you want to make this a point to appeal the corporates in that aspect?
Definitely. We actually just conducted a highly successful New Zealand tour. I'm sure you guys watched that. There's a lot of corporates who stepped forward for that tour. But the interest in general for, say, the sponsorship of the national 7s team or the 15s team is not the same. And that's something, so I would say we are really lacking a lot of sponsorship, much needed sponsorship if we are to take this game forward. And I do kindly request at least to consider, take into consideration to come forward for the sponsorship for the national 7s team, because we are making a historic pledge towards getting a medal, historic medal push, because at the Asian Games in October, and we have actually been 4th a couple of times before, but we never won a medal for rugby. So that's our primary objective of our executive committee at the moment. So we have started contracting our boys, and they're on a professional schedule from this month, from May, for 6 months, and we're really giving it a go to try and get that medal for Sri Lanka. So come and sponsor, come and help us achieve that.
That's great. And in addition to that, do you think the corporates, like in cricket, they give the employment on a contract basis for these national rugby players, so that they will have some sort of a financial backing as well? Because we feel that a lot of people are falling through the cracks because they are not financially backed.
I think that's happening to an extent. Certain companies like John Keel's and some of the banks have also Link Natural have hired these players. Most of the top national players do playing contracts. So they and I hope more of the players will be taken in by these corporates, so that they can sustain playing rugby with the amounts that are currently possible for the clubs to pay them, especially as Sri Lankan Rugby has not been paying our players for a long time. So we have changed that this time to an extent with the 7s contracts. We have bought into contracts for 21 players, and also we have started a match fee for the 15s players. It's not much, but it's a start. So we paid 25,000 for each of our players as a match fee, so at least they can cover something. But we hopefully that figure should be in the regions at least 100K by next year, if we can achieve hopefully an Asian medal, and then also get some more sponsorship after that.
Yes. This appeal goes to all our corporates. Please come join us in supporting the Sri Lanka Rugby as they aspire towards an Asian gold or an Asian medal for that matter. Moving on from this, Pavithra, I would like to shift gears into the fitness skills and the science of the game. The modern game is faster, stronger and more data driven. We are living in an AI age. Do you see our Sri Lankan rugby players maintaining their fitness, their skill, the standards in line with the international levels?
Well, at the highest level, at the national level, yes, most of the boys are where we get the best of the best. But however, we feel that some of them are still not up to par, especially with the endurance testing. The main testing for the rugby is the Bronco, and the targets are only met by, I would say, 50%. That needs to improve. That goes a long way. Gym work side, gym testing, I think most of our boys are, I think that percentage goes up to about 75%, 80% maybe. But we are in the skills department, we are very highly skillful, and that's something we have, the natural flair and skill. This, as you said, as we discussed earlier, the school level is very good. We have very good junior coaches at the grassroots levels in the school system, and these boys are highly skilled when they come to the club and national level. So, for example, last year when we played the Asian Division 1 Asian Championship for the 15s men's, we completely outplayed Korea and Dubai in every area, skill, speed, stamina, everything, but we got outplayed in the scrum. So we are a highly skillful bunch, and so that part we are there. We just need to really focus a bit more on our endurance and strength testing in the gym, start to eat better. That also come with affordability, because Sri Lanka, if you know, the diet is rice-based, and you need a small piece of chicken, a little bit of protein and a lot of carbs, and that's not what you're supposed to be eating. So those things will need, obviously will come with more funding and more payments to these boys. But it's come a long way from the time when we were playing. Boys are really working hard towards building up their strength and stamina, especially in the gym. The gym work was very limited back then when we played, but now, I mean, they're all really strong and compared to what we were then. Yeah.
Even when we see the matches, what we see is the skill-wise, we are not lacking. Like skill-wise, we are good. The conditioning is also good. It's just a matter of maintaining. Going one step beyond Pavithra, how would you evaluate, or how much important the sports science and analytics in the current game for us to take the Sri Lanka rugby forward?
This is massive, actually. We just tied up trying to finalize a partnership with Athos Lab, who has brought down the GPS tracking devices, which is used by all the top rugby countries who's ranked ahead of us. And it really helps you a lot to look at, to ensure these players don't get overtrained. You know where they are, how their fatigue levels, so that you can make sure that they're taken out in time, and to see. So it really helps with all of that. So there's a lot more equipment and data being used now, but we're at least now just trying to start with the most important one, which is the GPS tracking. Goes a long way. Yeah.
Agree. I can't agree more on that. So, going beyond players, the leadership becomes very critical as we aspire in building a great rugby team or a champions team, I would say. How important is consistency in coaching and administration? Because from the grassroots level, how much importance would the Sri Lanka Rugby Union would give on those two aspects, coaching and administration?
Yeah, it's very important, and that's why we spend a lot of time and effort on conducting the World Rugby training and education programs. We have a lot of good educators here, and we training and education falls into 4 areas, and we make sure we cover all 4 areas and regularly conduct these courses. It's match officials, coaching, strength and conditioning, and medical. Medical, which covers physio and doctor as well. So those are the 4 key components when it comes to TNE, and we have a lot of certified people here, which is very important that everyone's World Rugby qualified, so that consistency is there. Otherwise, the players get confused.
Yep.
Coaching, one coach shows you something, the other one shows you something else, and then they don't know, they start guessing, and that's never good. So that's why ensuring that World Rugby level 1, level 2, and level 3 coaches very important if you are going to succeed in the game.
In addition to that, what kind of a team culture would you aspire to build within the national team?
We want to ensure the culture is based on trust, shared responsibility, and very open, so that the players can feel very safe. They can come, open out and talk if there are any issues. It's really important so that they feel that they're part of the whole entire project.
How important is international exposure for a Sri Lankan player?
It's actually really... we had a better preparation with